guys! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Mo. The cover is a mixed media, steampunk, magical kind of feel, and this, so many different techniques that I've done to the actual cover to get it to where it's at, and if I'm being really honest, I don't remember all the steps taken to get here. There is some sort of textured gesso or something as a base with some rub-ons and different stains. The antique Mod Podge, the antique finish Mod Podge. And then this here is just like a little wooden Santa Claus that I've used a bunch of the Ephemera art. I think they're called, like the waxes. They're little like rub-on waxes for acrylic paint too. And then these gears are pretty amazing. They actually came out of a tiny grandfather clock that was over 100 years old. The wood was completely rotted out and unsalvageable, and with my love of all things steampunk, I decided to salvage the inner workings, which were a bunch of really cool gears. Not all of them are out of the clock. Mainly these bigger ones, like this one, this one, this one, and this one, are what came out of the clock, and then these are just ones that I've had in my stash for quite a while. It was 2 inches. I've attached some little doodads on the spine here, which if they bother you can just cut them off. It's not even a big deal. It'll still stay bound. There's mostly like a couple jingle bells, the number 25 Tim Holtz charm, a little bird, a little girl cameo, some gears, shiny diamonds, and a little gold tassel. And then the back is just, you can just see more of like what the actual texture looks like. This black stuff is from the dollar store during Halloween. Journal is in the traditional Christmas colors, and its closure is just this little cluster of vintage, some of these are vintage lace, and then actually I think this seam binders ribbon is vintage as well. Most of the stuff I get from like garage sales or a couple of the really awesome shops that I am gonna miss dearly when I move. I don't even know what to think about that. The town, come on, I'll get it together. The town I'm moving to is quite small, not a lot happening. So yeah, this is a biggin, like a super biggin. Of course, like I always say, you can take out stuff and then add it as you go, or not add it at all. Maybe you want to put it in another journal. Totally up to you. There's tons of genuine Christmas ephemera and cards and tags in this journal, along with some Tim Holtzy stuff, and most of the book pages are, except for like the pattern paper, is going to be vintage. Some of them super duper old, like 1911. I think I put one of the 1903s in here. If you've never purchased a journal from me before, which you probably haven't because I haven't been on YouTube doing this for that long, I do send an extra little goodie pack with all of my journals. And I've recently come into some pretty awesome stuff, which will obviously be going in those little goodie packs. So let's get started, because I tend to blab on forever and have way too long of videos, and I don't know if people like that or not, so I don't feel like I like it. Anyways, inside a couple of these vintage little playing cards. I think actually, no, I guess I'll leave them. I was going to back them with some coffee dye paper, but I don't think I'm going to do that actually. So we have these. I totally forget the guy who does this type of paintings. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. The name is just, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, 2 of those cards, and then this is a real piece of paper from a vintage newspaper. It's got a little Santa Claus there, and then I backed it on some coffee splatter dye paper. And then back here is a genuine vintage cameo, or whatever these are called. Gosh, I cannot think today. But, oh, sorry about the glare, you guys. First page, this is out of an old vintage Christmas book that I tore apart. First page. Gosh, get it together, Mo. Sorry, you guys. I'm super sorry. I'm trying this new setup because it's better lighting and I'm failing miserably. So, I hope you can see that cute little image of the little elves right there. So cute. So that there is just out of an old vintage kids book. And then the first page here is, oh my gosh. Got a cute little pockets. This actually flips up. There's a vintage Christmas tag in there. I don't know if you could see him, Santa. And I just, most of the paper clips have a little fabric on them. And then this is a pocket with a little tag inside. Some distress oxides on it. And then this is another little tag, and it says, "Do all things with love." And it's just a little craft paper. This is some really pretty paper that I got at Tuesday mornings, I believe. Little washi tape and just some vintage fabrics right there. This page, excuse me, it's a little postcard from Michael's. Looks vintagey. Cool little paper clip, and then there's some stuff tucked in there. For this time's sake, I'm not going to open every single little thing up. A little title author card, another one of those vintage images back to some baking paper, and then this is a recipe for some anise bread, cardamom bread, caraway cocktail bread, out of an old vintage book that I found. This is a awesome old vintage card that I scored at the antique shop here in town, and obviously it's a cute little kid and their dog. It's huge. It's got like a little, inside. It's got like the original handwriting. I did have to like line it with some washi tape just to, it's obviously old and I just wanted to secure it. So there's a little story there, some more washi tape, and then the back I adhere just a little flower there, and some Tim Holtz ephemera. This is a little piece of vintage ephemera out of an old book I had, some little journaling cards, and right here is a little ephemera, and then this flips down, and then there's actually a little journaling card in there. I'm like struggling today, you guys, with this position that I'm in, so I apologize. I hope that you can at least see. I'm going to raise this up. It's driving me crazy. So right here is just a little tuck with distress oxide. This is a little vintage envelope that flips out, and there's another little recipe in there. Some paper, got the little vintage book image envelope, and the little postcard, some more little vintage ephemera. This is a vintage coloring book image with that colored. And some more Tim Holtz, some vintage ephemera. Awesome vintage little kitty I found. That page, little tuck spot there with the genuine vintage Christmas card. This is a little tuck, you could tuck something behind there. I just did some light stenciling. It's a little flip out, it's a real vintage Christmas tag, and then this is out of that super old magazine book. And there's a little tuck, oops. There's a little tuck right there. And old vintage book paper, stamping, more of this guy that I can't remember the name. Little kid playing the piano, writing, lots of room to journal, stick photos, vintage magazine. There's another little vintage piece of that magazine. And then got a little vintage Christmas card. All of this is real, genuine vintage ephemera. I loaded it because I scored a lot and I like to share. So I hope whoever gets this appreciates the awesomeness that is in it. More vintage ephemera. Yeah, I did stamping, and then here's a little vintage piece of paper from the town I live in, and another little vintage ephemera that I backed onto some baking paper. It didn't turn out quite how I thought, but it's still usable. Cool to look at. Little flip. A little vintage receipt from Texaco. More vintage paper. And then this is a little pocket back here with a little journaling card. And a little tag. Another little piece of vintage magazine. This flips out. Little bow there. It says Mary. And then another vintage things to do today list. A little tuck right there. Marion Bright. It's obviously like it is stuffed, you guys, so you might want to take some of the stuff out and use it as you go. Vintage paper, music paper. This is a little flip down with a vintage Christmas card in it. Some of the Christmas cards are written in, some of them aren't. And then this just flips out there. Some nice transfer there. There's another little cluster of goodness with real vintage ephemera and Tim Holtz. There's some negatives. Lots of little goodness in there. There's a tuck behind that as well. There's a old vintage letter from 1943. And there is a real letter in there. Little bell. This is a real photo. Cute little family. Old vintage Christmas books. I think it was like the night before Christmas. Just some extra journaling paper in here. This is just a little cluster of steampunkness that I added to the side there. There's a little flip out. These actually go down and then you can flip it out. It goes across. And then those just put it back in place. Christmas kids book, and then vintage Christmas paper, vintage postcard with Santa on it. There's a little file folder, more vintage magazine, flip out. Little tuck spot there. Kissing under the mistletoe. There's Santa. A little journaling spot. See the boy on his, holding the little boy. Ledger paper. This is another one of those vintage Christmas cards. Kind of cool. You can see it on the back there. And then inside. Some of the vintage Christmas cards are written in, and then some of them aren't. So, and got a little flip out here. This is one of those little tri-fold flips. It goes down. More stamping over there. Folds over. Little puppies. Christmas carolers. Scrap paper. Santa. Another flip out. And another little bell there with some washi tape. This is another little Christmas card here. It's like 3D raised up. I don't know if you can tell. It goes in there, and it's just tucked behind this little vintage Christmas tack. I got a little teeny pocket over here with some tickets and an icicle.